Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, and all those out to sea, it's Scott Hammond with the 100% Humboldt podcast with my new best friend, John Ford from Humboldt County. Hi, John.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Hey, how's your day?
It's been pretty good.
Pretty magical out there for a summer day.
So summer day, it's a nice day. People seem a little bit more upbeat today.
Yeah, it doesn't take much after a lot of fog.
Yeah.
Tease us with a little sunshine, and we'll be nice. That's
Absolutely.
funny.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's your job, name, rank, and serial number?
Sure. So my name's John Ford. When I first got here, there was a John Ford here who was doing some things that weren't completely legal.
The other John Ford.
So the district attorney advised me that I should absolutely use my middle initial in all things. So
I knew the other John Ford personally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, who's a realtor than an insurance guy.
Right.
Wait, I have my insurance tag on. Wait. Not with State Farm.
Right. So I'm the director of planning and building for the County of Humboldt. And within that department, we get to obviously do building permitting. We get to do planning permitting. We get to prepare recommended ordinances and policy documents for the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors. And we also get to do code enforcement.
And cannabis stuff too, right?
Cannabis is really part of the permitting.
Okay.
And it's also part of the code enforcement. So
I'd say lesser now, right? Because the industry's kind of tanked a little bit.
Industry is really down.
Yeah.
It was one of the most amazing experiences to come in. I came in 2016.
Right on time.
Just as that was starting.
Ready to peak.
Oh, it hadn't peaked yet.
Yeah.
But it peaked days after that.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, when I came in, I think there was maybe 26 applications on file.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of that year, there were 2,370 applications on file.
How many?
2,300.
Whoa.
And I came on October 31st. So that was November, December. In fact, I looked a long time ago, and this number just sticks with me, is that in the last 2 weeks of the year, we took in 1,500 applications.
Is that right?
That's 10 working days.
Wow.
150 applications a day.
That's crazy. It's like an annual number.
Yeah, it actually is. It's bigger than an annual number, frankly.
Funny, it's y'all want to grow some weed? Back then, y'all did. And then we know it's all burned to the ground mostly. But, with the boom and bust economy that is famous to our county.
Right.
Timber or anything else, I suppose, .coms and the steel industry and
Well, there's a lot of people that applied. There's a few people who are still making it work in Humboldt, which is good to see.
Yeah.
And, one of the struggles that a lot of us recognized is that a new business, if it lasts 5 years, that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So not everybody was going to make it.
Yeah, that 5-year window.
Just statistically, not everybody was going to
make it. They told me I started State Farm at 53. Just a year ago.
Yeah.
They said, you got to make it 5 years, you'll know.
Yeah, it's just a flash of time.
You might make money at 5 years. I go, well, I'm going to do it in 2 or 3. It was 5. So five is probably a pretty good number.
Yeah.
So we'll get to the weed and all the weed guys and all of our opinions on that in a minute. But,
okay.
Tell us your life story. Where were you born and raised, and school, and how'd you get to Humboldt?
So I was born in California. I was actually born in a town called Fresno, California. Sure. And my father, every 6 years or so, would change jobs. Mm-hmm. And so I went from Fresno to Sacramento to Walnut Creek to Modesto when I was growing up.
Wow.
Graduated from high school in Modesto, started in junior college there. Came up to Humboldt State for a year and went to college here, and then ultimately transferred down to University of California at Santa Barbara. Graduated from there.
Cool school.
It was a great experience.
Yeah. My wife was raised in Ojai, California.
Yeah.
Not far from there.
Nope, just a little bit inland.
What a great place. We've been down the last 2 Novembers.
Yeah.
And just Still a really cool little town. Gets crowded because that highway's the only road in town. But
Yeah. No, I get that.
I'm trying to think of the numbers at 94 or 7. Who knows? Whatever. Yeah. And UCSB's, that's where Daddy went to school for pharmacy.
Okay.
So they lived in Isla Vista for a minute. And
lived in Isla Vista for a minute myself.
Yeah. Fish tacos were good there back in the day.
They were. Yep.
That's where I was introduced. So we had our honeymoon there. We got married in Port Sacal Wedding Chapel in San Pedro Harbor and did the great 2-day honeymoon in Ventura, Santa Barbara.
Nice.
Yeah, it's what we could afford. So you do what you can do.
Right. It's a nice place to be. I mean,
yeah,
it was good to go to class and then go out, enjoy the beach, enjoy the scenery.
It's literally on the beach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
It is.
Yeah.
Right on Coal Oil Point.
Wow.
It's great to walk on the beach and have tar on the bottom of your feet.
That was in the tar days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember all the oil spills.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they're going to open those back up again.
They've been struggling with that a little bit.
They want some more tar on your feet. So what'd you study? Where'd you go from there?
So I wanted to go into planning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I studied environmental studies and geography, got a degree in both at UCSB. And then went down, spent a year working for the city of Thousand Oaks.
Okay.
And then went up to the city of Roseville.
Wow.
Worked there for about 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Went to work as a consultant for a few years, processing permits, doing feasibility studies, things like that.
Sacramento or?
Actually, over in Santa Cruz.
Oh, better yet.
Lived up in the San Lorenzo Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually felt like I should take a different path, felt like God was telling me that I needed to go into ministry.
Wow.
So I went back to seminary in Kansas City, moved up my young family, and moved to Kansas City at the Nazarene Theological Seminary.
Okay.
While I was there.
Is that International House of Prayer somewhere by there too, right? It's somewhere outside of Kansas City.
It could be. I'm not aware of it, but it could be. Started pastoring in a small church out in a small town called Carrollton while I was there.
Wow.
And then kind of realized that my ability in that church to continue to evoke growth, change, had reached its limit.
That's a nice way to say that. I like that.
And I was in the seminary that following Monday and was looking at the job board and noticed that the nominational person for the church I'm a part of was going to be at the seminary.
Oh, wow.
And so I made an appointment to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I was able to meet with him, he'd already talked to people who knew me within the district here on Northern California because that's where I came from originally.
So already kind of knew you, did his homework.
Yeah. And
that's a good sign, right?
Yeah. So I agreed to go to McKinleyville to pastor the Nazarene church there.
Sure.
And was there for about 7 years.
On McKinleyville Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The time my wife at the time got sick and couldn't work, and I was struggling. We were struggling financially, and I'd applied to all kinds of second jobs, Starbucks, Safeway. I mean, you name it. I put an application in, and nobody gave me a call back. And so one day, out of frustration, I sent my resume back or down to for an opening in Monterey County, and they hired me.
The Naz Church?
No, for a planner.
Oh, okay.
So I went back.
Because that was your skill set. That was your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I was down there for a year and a half, and the denominational superintendent called me and said, "Hey, we've got a church open up in Cupertino. Do you want to interview?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I went up there, and they called me, and that was a great experience, but my wife at the time decided I can't do this anymore.
Huh.
And so we ended up separating, and I didn't feel good about staying in the church as a separated, soon-to-be divorced person.
Sure.
So I resigned, and Monterey County took me back.
Wow.
And I don't know, years later, 10 years later, whatever it's been, somebody I met while I was pastoring up here, and I started communicating, and then got remarried.
Hmm.
And so she was either going to move someplace, which wasn't likely,
Mhm.
or I was going to move up here.
Closer.
Yep. And so I ended up interviewing for the position of director of planning and building,
Wow.
and was able to get that job.
What a cool God journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of twists and turns.
It's a lot of twists and turns.
I like that.
There's a lot to be learned in those turns.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing all that. That's good stuff. So, yeah, the God journey. It's interesting listening to him and when you don't.
Absolutely. It's when you don't that you're in trouble.
It's scary. It's scary. So you guys met. So you came back up here, and you came and took a job to be closer to your sweetheart.
Yeah, and then
Your now sweetheart.
and we got married. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's exactly it.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. So you've lived in a lot of places.
I have.
How do you like Humboldt so far?
This is my third stint in Humboldt.
So, you keep coming back.
I keep coming back.
I like that.
So,
Hey, it could be worse. I always say that, there's so many worse places one could establish. Hey, if you're just joining us, my new best friend, John Ford from County of Humboldt, and I have so much resonance with your walk with God, your relationship to the Holy Spirit, the fact that you're a God guy, that unashamedly stating that, and me resonating with that in the same way, and the fact that the life journey is really quite interesting in terms of the twists and turns, and some of the people that let us down along the way, and sometimes we wonder if God does, and turns out He doesn't.
we hit really difficult places in our lives. I think probably everybody does.
Sure.
That's not a sign that God is absent.
Right.
And usually in those times, God is most available.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, it's the hard part is admitting that and turning to Him.
And so now your pastoral position is the planning director. Now your church looks a little different.
It's a lot different.
How's your congregation doing, John? Probably like any congregation, there's a bell curve.
Well, we've gone through immense changes,
Mhm.
and because obviously the whole cannabis thing
Sure.
was something we had to adapt to.
Yeah.
And as part of that, we took on code enforcement. And so that was also a huge change.
Mhm.
And so the department has faced continual change, continual growth in terms of how we do things
Mhm.
and how to address things and adapt to things.
So that means that who used to do that? Sheriff, or who would do code
It was
enforcement?
actually in the county council's office.
Huh.
Code enforcement became quite controversial for a while in Humboldt County
Mhm.
because it did get, I think it was in the sheriff's office.
Mhm.
And that was a long time ago. And
So what's an example? You come out and write me up because I have a bad sewer or septic or something just way out of line in compliance.
So with the exception of a couple of things, cannabis being one of them,
Mhm.
abandoned vehicles being another,
Okay.
we don't proactively go out and look for violations. The code enforcement is complaint driven.
Yeah.
So
A lot of complainers in Humboldt County. Love you, mean it. No lack of those around.
and in fact, one of the things that we experienced is during COVID,
Mhm.
when people were home more,
Mhm.
the number of complaints we received went way, way up, like
Interesting.
doubled.
Yeah. Nothing else to do, huh? Nothing else to do with your time. I'm complaining now.
Yeah.
Or at least I'm condemning a little bit.
Some of the situations we run into, I mean, they're pretty rough.
Mhm.
And they're
Sure.
really things that need to be addressed.
Yeah. Well, I've seen some things in insurance where, blackberries have taken over a home, or a hoarder, or,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of other ancillary dangers.
absolutely.
And somebody's got to say something, do something.
Yep.
Other than that, you want to burn down the neighborhood? I don't think so.
Nope. And it's really difficult because in every situation you're dealing with a person.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes you're dealing with two different sets of people. You're dealing with the property owner who has a condition, and you're dealing with neighbors who are being affected by it.
Right. And how do you politely, respectfully, and firmly solve that problem?
Right.
I like it. Tough job.
It is.
Yeah.
So one of those jobs where nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah. It's a lonely road at the top, John. Don't I know? Father of 9 kids. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Dad, what? Joni can't do any sin at all. She's the amazing mom, and I married way up, and I know that. But I can't get a win. I don't know what it is. This poor dad. So let me play my sad dad story. So, so land use is part of your deal too, right?
Yeah.
Since we know this, we just discovered this Monday morning as I confirmed your attendance today that we're neighbors. So John's my backdoor neighbor, whatever. He's behind a giant thing, so I never see him. And he never sees me in my hot tub. So for that, be eternally grateful, John. But we were able to build an ADU during COVID.
Good.
So it is heroic in the sense that here's Gabriel, our special needs son, who's amazing and 27 with autism and Downs and needs 24/7 care. Doesn't really care who's in office, never worries about a mortgage. He's the greatest guy around. He's kind of my guru, so. The Mormons got that right. They think that people that with Downs get an automatic ticket to heaven. And I gotta resoundingly agree with that. So.
Wouldn't argue with that.
So Christians think that too. So there you go. Anyway, so long story short, our lot sits like this. John's in the back. We have a home in the front. The cool thing is Joni's father died, which is not cool, down in L.A., Santa Barbara. And Joni inherited a little bit of money, so we were able to build this ADU. Found out this new law came into effect in 2020 that it made planning easier to do ADUs. So I'll let you talk to that, and then I'll tell the rest of the story.
Sure. So it used to be that accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, were called granny flats, and they could be installed with some kind of permit, discretionary permit that took a lot of time, too much time probably. And the state changed the law and said, you know what, we need to see more housing built, so we're going to just allow these as part of the residence.
Just so they're to code.
Yeah.
And
if you
zoning.
get a permit for them and they comply with all the other requirements that are part of any other development, they're good to go. So the county obviously followed suit, updated our code to reflect that. And we've been seeing a lot of ADUs built.
Sure.
Because it's a good way to provide housing. It's a good way for some people to have supplemental income on their property.
Sure. What's a good number? Is it the hundreds, thousands?
Of ADUs?
Yeah, in the last 5 years.
Hundreds.
That's great, though.
Yeah.
Consider the shortage, right?
Yeah. Well, we're struggling to see housing built. And, part of it, though, too, is maybe this is a little off topic, but our population is not exploding. It's not growing.
I never knew that. What? We don't grow. We might go backwards some years.
I think the trend right now is backwards.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny how some people are happy with that.
Right.
We say that, we go, want, and other people are going, yeah. And we'll get to Amazon here in a minute. Is that part of your bailiwick up in in McKinleyville?
Yep.
Wow, we're going from weed to Amazon. And next stop, we're going to talk about Trump. Just kidding. So I'll finish my Gabe story real quick. This ADU story. Where planning meets God stuff and miracles. So we have this money. We have the special needs son. We're not going to send him to Section 8 housing because we don't. Who knows? And we have the will and the son-in-law that's a builder. He goes, I'll build something back there. And he's built a beautiful 1,100 square foot 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
That's awesome.
It's awesome, dude, and it's beautiful, and it's not Taj Mahal, but it's pretty cool. So I call into the county, and I don't think I talked to you, but I talked to one of your guys. I go, hey, so this ADU law, we got CC&Rs in our cul-de-sac, and the CC&Rs must mean something. He goes, no, it's the state law, Scott. You can build a house. I go, well, what about setback? Well, if the setbacks work and you're, but the CC, he goes, Gavin Newsom signed a bill. It's law. I'm telling you, you can do this within the rules. And I go, are you sure? so that non-believing mindset of like doubting, something cool could happen. So, and it did. And here's the interesting thing, and you'll appreciate this because you'll get it. I'm looking for something long to show this. Anyway, so our lot, my prop here, our home sits in front of the lot, and there's an airport transecting line. What am I telling you? You probably know what it's called. Anyway, it transects our property almost in half, less than half. And it became apparent with our planning, our builder and our planner, that we could drop a house right in there. And it's sure enough. And it's beautiful. And Gabe's happy camper, and mom and dad are off to Oregon tomorrow.
Nice.
Another travel. After 9 years of being stuck in McKinleyville, well, I'm sorry, raising 9 kids and having a delightful time in the fog, we're going to go swim in the river in Oregon. Thank you. And go see String Cheese Incident and Brit Festival. So anyway, that's my Gabe story. And he it's just worked out fabulous. It's one of those stories. So there's a great side to what you do and provide for, right?
There is. Some of the things we get to do is really help people do things that are meaningful and important. And that's probably what keeps me coming back, is the ability to make a difference.
Yeah. So before we go into weed and Amazon, you help the county supervisors make recommendations on land use and meetings, and you run the planning commission. Do you run the meeting?
I don't run the meeting. There's a chair.
But you're present for that.
I am present for that.
Is that Ivor? Is that who does it?
It was Ivor Skavdal for a time. Now it's Sarah West. She's the chair.
And Noah was the chair for a minute.
Yeah, they rotate on an annual basis.
The only government meeting I've ever been to, except for we got recognized by Rex and the board for Humboldt Heroes, which we recognize vets once a month for 10 years, was the We Are Up testimony.
Right.
And, Mary had asked everybody, please be there. And I think pretty sure you were there. And that sailed right through. Amazing person. And, I don't remember speaking. And maybe Joni did. I don't remember, but I remember attending and being impressed with the whole, how the board works.
Yeah. That's one of those projects that when you look at it, you think, wow, there is a lot of love behind that to make something like that work.
Special lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's you and I color in the We Are Up for vision for people that don't know what it is. It's modeled after, what would I call it? It's modeled from something back east. I know that much, but it's a farm. It's a tract of land behind Grocery Outlet in McKinleyville.
Correct. And what it will do is provide housing for seniors and really adult
and
people,
special needs populations
who have autism and other things. That it'll give them, the seniors and the special needs populations, the ability to interact, to socialize.
And Cal Poly people could come and live and study there, and nursing students. Big vision. So it starts with this greenhouse and barn.
Yeah,
they're going to grow their own.
That's it.
Not weed, you weed thinker. And then expand out to a building and then a community center type of thing.
Right. And ultimately it'll be a place where the community can come and lease space to have events, weddings.
Live shows.
Yeah. So, and one of the interesting things there is that, as I understand it, those events and the proceeds for those really go to underwrite the overall cost of the facility. So it keeps the cost down to the residents.
Yeah.
And
I'm amazed, and I'll pivot to where I really want to talk about, and that is the NIMBY headspace of Humboldt. Some people in Humboldt that don't want anything in their backyard ever. And I don't know much. I'm 67. I'm a B student from Humboldt. I was a feral hippie child that walked the streets of San Diego smoking weed till I met Jesus and Joni and a degree at Humboldt and sobriety. However, I'm not stupid. And going to this meeting, I'm going, how could you oppose this? They thought of every detail, every environmental detail, the thing was it buttoned up in your book? I mean,
Yeah, it was buttoned up.
Obviously the board thought so, and they approved it the night of with no concerns, right? Or minor something.
The second time it got approved with no concerns.
Mm-hmm.
The first time it went through, there were some neighbors to the north.
Correct.
That had concerns about being able to see something behind their fence.
Sure.
And the noise that may come from the events, mm-hmm. the lights, and that sort of thing.
And they mitigated all that or addressed it.
They went way, way beyond. They purchased additional property, mm-hmm. Found alternative access,
right.
Oriented things away from those residents.
So they did a redesign to accommodate
yes,
6, not even maybe a half dozen households. So the
max number.
So we got a name for them, and not just the people there, but we'll call them the neighbors to the north. And I want to address those guys because I don't. First of all, I don't really like who you are, neighbors to the north, or how you act. At least, I'm sure you're wonderful people. But I think, and I'm again not addressing them. I'm addressing the people who would say any growth in Humboldt's bad. You know, here's Amazon. It's zoned for this. Here's We Are Up. How could you not fall in love with that program and just bite the bullet and deal with the lighting or deal with any noise because it's such a cool vision? And I guess it's the obstructionist mofo that I would label the neighbors to the north that keep things, keep us small, keep us in poverty, keep us desperate, keep us provincial and weird. And at the end of the day, broke. And I think, my kids, your grandkids, my son's 22 today. He goes, Dad, I don't have a chance here.
He's right.
And I go, F, you're right, dude. And hey, you're going to be okay. It'll be fine. And, we're talking to our wealthy friends from church in Trinidad Sunday night. I go, why would you keep Amazon out? Why would you be against that or try to get that on a ballot? It's providing 80 to 200 jobs, some wages, some medical care for people, and it's zoned for it, and it's in a corner of an industrial lot that nobody ever goes to. And and we didn't even talk about the undeveloped bay. It's like, so love your insights. I don't have answers. I just kind of wonder if it's this protectionistic, obstructionistic. So at the end of the day, I would call it freaking selfish headspace of I got mine millennials and I don't really give a crap about anybody. I just want to keep Humboldt small and green and groovy. And it's like, and I could start being kind of nasty about it. And I don't think that's the point. The point is, how do you see that, that cadre of people and their value system behind that? I'm sure there's more than just one demographic here. Or psychographic.
There's more than one demographic that's involved in that. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that, or no, you didn't. I was talking to somebody earlier today that went into Wildberries, mm-hmm. and they were trying to get the petition signed against Amazon.
And it's failed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
shucks, that's too bad.
He was like,
am I losing listeners and watchers?
I can't imagine. But his thought was just like, you are an elderly of European descent individual. You're probably wealthy, own your house. Mm-hmm. So why are you against this?
Yeah.
And, there's no answer for that.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. People do like Humboldt just as it is.
Yeah.
The struggle is that an economy, a society, is much like a body. If you're feeding it and exercising it and keeping it strong and it's growing,
Moving.
it functions pretty darn well. Even as we age, if we
Speak for yourself, brother. I'm kind of stiff right now.
Yeah, well, but you keep moving. You get up in the morning, you go for a walk.
That's right.
And so
I'll tell you about the skunk in a minute.
We continue to experience, the strength of and the function of our body. And the same thing happens in a community.
An economy.
An economy. When you start to lose segments of the economy, you lose your industrial sector. Where are your jobs?
Yeah, where's lumber?
Yeah, you have none.
Where's fisheries? Where's tourism? I mean, tourism, we talk about it, but that's not.
We probably get a pretty good number of tourists.
It's gotten better, but it ain't. We can't live on it.
The struggle is it does not. It produces some taxes, but the people who work in the tourist industry, by and large, aren't the highest paid,
and they're seasonal.
And most of their work period is seasonal.
I go down to Old Town from January to early May, and it's pretty dead. There's a lot of booming in downtown. You know what it is? Dispensaries and thrift stores. If that's your groove, you're going to do well in Humboldt. And it's like it's such a nasty, true statement, and I walk it daily. So please argue with me, because it just ain't good. There's banks and there's insurance companies and dispensaries and thrift stores and a couple of restaurants. By the way, have you ate out recently? It's also expensive.
It's very expensive to eat out. It gets really hard.
So back to this NIMBY, folks on the north side, folks to the north. What? And I realize we both need to be careful. What can we say to them or do about that headspace?
I don't know that we can do anything about that. I mean, on the one hand, neighbors who have enjoyed a certain quality of life with nothing behind them for a period of time, I get it. That becomes an intrusion.
It's a bummer.
Into their property. But it's not their property right, because
they don't own that property.
There is a property to the south of them that has the right or some rights to develop.
They should have bought it.
That's one option. But I think that what Mary did, like with We Are Up, is to recognize is like, you know what? I don't want to create enemies.
Right. Before we even start.
Right. So let's go ahead and take another look at this before we end up in front of the Board of Supervisors and have that.
An open warfare.
Yeah, that fight.
How many households are we talking about opposed this, John, roughly?
Probably about 6.
Wow. How they could 6 households could shift the trajectory of a beautiful project.
The one thing that becomes important in that is, the way you effectively engage in the public process. One of the things I like about what we do is it is public. So people do have a right to get up and say, hey, I think this adversely affects me and I don't like that. And so there's always the desire anyway, or I have that desire, and I've seen many developers wanting to, let's work this out. And Mary did that.
Yeah. And it's done. It's a done deal at this point.
It's approved now. It's done.
Yeah. With conditions.
Yeah. I think Amazon's a little different. Amazon's more of a philosophical hate of Amazon. Yeah.
Which is fine. Don't shop them. Yeah. You don't like porn? Stop watching porn. Philosophical. Maybe that's not the greatest analogy, but okay.
It's the point's taken.
Yeah. But they're coming in legally and zoned correctly and trying to comply with
they're not
law. Right?
They're not coming in to close down stores. And that seems to be one of the arguments.
Which is kind of a fallacy, right?
They're coming in because people are already using their services.
Correct. And stores are already closed.
Right. And it makes business sense for them rather than paying commercial freight charges to UPS or the United States Postal Service.
Sure.
To use their own resources to ship material up here and distribute it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm too simple-minded, but that's where I see it.
Well, and I understand the argument. They may not be here for 50 years. Okay. So what are you offering, friend, from the North and other jobs that you're trying to bring in? And the answer is, heck if I know, dude, and I don't care. And it's like, so now we have a deeper than philosophical difference. And I see where it becomes insulting then on Facebook and other places where it's like, you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot. Screw you. No, screw you. And so I don't know where that gets us in the dialogue, but I do know, little baby, the day, don't despise the day of small beginnings. And we need small beginnings. We need Danco to do Samoa. We need someone to come and build around the bay and do some, the Halverson project. Why don't we have a convention center? What is possibly wrong with us that we don't have that? Why don't we have a Home Depot? Really? A Home Depot? Why did Walmart have to come into Gottschalk's and go in the back door to get into Humboldt? I mean, are we that exclusive? And as much as I sit here and ask people how much they love Humboldt County, there's an underlying philosophical, I would call it a disease or a pathology or even a poison that keeps that has ancillary results of a poverty and mindset that doesn't touch the old fat white guy that shops at Wild Berries in Arcata. Love you, old fat white guys, but you can't own the day and you can't own the future of Humboldt. I'm sorry. So I think I found my passion.
Yeah.
Been praying about that person that I want to help out, that demographic. Young families in Humboldt. Let's get you guys some jobs. Let's bring in some business. Let's bring in some manufacturing. Let's do some real economic good damage. We're not bringing in nuclear power plants.
Nope.
We're not drilling for oil here, folks. So it's like, is there some? I guess I would plead for some middle ground, but that's another story.
And it's hard. We have some disadvantages too. Transportation is one of them.
Yep.
It's hard to mass produce things here and then ship them someplace.
We could ride them down the Railroad Trail when it's built and put people on bikes and ship stuff out.
That'd be incredibly environmentally sensitive. Yep.
Hey, it's low on gas, but I got a lot of Haliashi in the back. We're going to ship some earrings. It's cool. Anyway, we'll see. Paul, we want to get you on the show, by the way. So let's go back to the skunk story. Before we do that, any other thoughts to our friends, our obstructionist brethren?
No. And the thing is that while NIMBYs are incredibly frustrating in a lot of circumstances, they do have an appropriate place.
Sure.
And so they can't be just completely disregarded. And NIMBY kind of becomes one of those derisive terms. But the fact of the matter is that everybody gets to participate in the process.
Right. And I think that statement implies equity.
Yep.
And fairness. And I see I don't see none, almost none. It's like, no, how about that? Well, no. How about, nope. How about offshore wind? Well, no. How about some fish? How about Hershey's chocolate? Way back, I heard when I was younger in college, they tried to come in somewhere around the bay.
Really?
They were waiting for Dick Taylor. Speaking of which, oh, wow. It's almost time for the quiz.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you like vanilla milk chocolate or you like a dark chocolate?
Oh, vanilla's good. Dark is good.
This is delicious. Okay. Well, don't get carried away. You haven't won anything yet. So John and I are neighbors, and I was telling John this. We have a bear up on Dow's Prairie that's raising cane and going crazy. And I don't know. I got some trash. Did you see the trash can Tuesday morning after we talked?
I did not.
It was down by the golf course. It's over it. Anyway, don't put your trash out on Monday night. I called the neighbors after you called us. I said, Pat and Jerry, bring that trash can in. Thank you, Scott. You're amazing. Our NIMBY neighbors. I'm sorry. I don't call everybody that. But they're great and they were appreciative. And so we have a bear running around. So I get up in the morning, take a walk outside, stretch my legs, and I look over, there's a skunk. I go, oh, okay. I'm scaring the skunk away. He's going nowhere. In fact, he's going in a circle. I get closer and I go, he's got a cup on his nose. And it turns out it's a yogurt container, which is worse because it's hard plastic. I thought it was a little Dixie cup. And this skunk, a big skunk too, not a little skunk. And I call Lynn this morning. I go, hey, first of all, I showed Jonah. I said, we don't, I've seen weird stuff. This is pretty weird, pretty funny. Not funny. It was funny, weird. And I called Lynn. I go, Lynn, I don't know how to tell you this good morning, but you got one of the skunks that live around your house is doing circles in your yard. And I thought about going over with a long, 10-foot pole and trying to get it off. And she goes, okay, thank you. And so she calls back. She goes, I had no choice. I walked up to it and pulled it off its nose. Go, Lynn, you are a bad A, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good job, Lynn. You're tough. She goes, it fled and it was happy.
Okay, so it didn't turn around and turn on her literally.
No, we're going to call, Fish and Game and had a big plan, but she just did it the right way. Popped that off. So, hey, having said that, you ready to make some chocolate happen?
I'll give it a try.
All right, John, for all the money. John Ford, what was the best day of your life?
That has the moment.
One of the best days.
I'm going to say the day that I decided to follow Jesus Christ.
Wow. How old were you?
I was 25 years old.
Wow. What happened?
Just lots of changes going on, done with college, struggling with the job, struggling with whether to take a new job, struggling with whether or not to enter into a relationship, and just, okay.
Hit bottom.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good days since then.
Very good days.
It's funny that he knew you then, but you didn't know who you would be now, but he knew.
Correct.
And had you kind of lined up, if you will. I like that. I was 21. I married Joni 45 years ago. I had no idea how cool it would be. He knew how this would go, but I had no clue. And it's like, wow, you could see beyond time. Wait, he must be God. Question number 2, what's the worst day of your life?
Ooh. I'm going to go with the day my father died.
Okay. How long ago was that?
That was in 1992.
Wow. He's been gone a while.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I'm sorry to hear that, but that's kind of the way of things at times.
It is the way of things.
Lost my dad in 2004. Ornery guy, he died on Valentine's Day, kind of ruined. and now has made it beautiful. I see it in a different light.
Yeah.
He lived a full life. And I was able to share Christ with him as I was the hippie feral child from Humboldt, giving my father an amazing Ryrie study Bible from Charles Ryrie, Dallas Theological, Dad.
Yeah.
Presented it to here, Bob. And he goes, I only read the King James. And I said, you don't read any Bible, dude. You've never read the Bible. And it cost me a whole month of groceries. It's yours, bro. And he goes, thank you very much. And whatever. And a couple of months later, he was on Camp Pendleton where he sold life insurance, of all things, to Marines. The chaplain goes, hey, he's telling him about his hippie, stupid Christian son up at Humboldt State. Scott, give me this dumb Bible, Ryrie something. And the chaplain, in perfect secret agent God form, said, I studied under him at Dallas Theological. And Bobby, you would do well as a fellow Marine in reading that Bible. And it caught my dad flat-footed. And he became a student of the Bible. Got baptized at 53 and the whole nine. And a beautiful story. Sober since 1973. but it just added that next layer of spirituality and Christ to his sobriety,
Mm-hmm.
and died at 83 in a beautiful death, and just a neat guy that, hey, we're going to hang out for too long, I'm sure.
That's sweet.
It's going to be great. So, hey, question number 3. So we've all lost a dad, right?
Right.
What do you find fulfilling in your life?
Helping people.
Nice. In what way?
Meeting needs.
Mm-hmm. More specific?
Um,
Solving their problems?
If I can.
Yeah.
If they need help in the yard, I'll do that. If there's something I see that I can do that, may be beyond them, I'll do it.
We always talk about throwing money at problems. I think we have 1,000 other gifts and currencies besides writing a check, to just spending time and being present with people.
That was one of the things that I learned as a pastor, that probably is the most important thing we can give to people is time.
Mm.
And sometimes we think that we have to say the right thing and do the right thing and all that, but sometimes it's just being present.
Yeah. Just listening. I've watched my wife do that so wonderfully with our kids, especially our oldest son at home, who's has a lot of things to say. And I'm in the other room going, better her than me. Because she can endure it. I have a limit, and then I have to go, put my head in the hot tub or something. But to be listened to and understood is what a great ministry to people. And by and large, they got it worked out already. They just had to talk about it, or be emotional, or just freak out for a minute and get it all out there. And then Mike is usually pretty good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Thanks for, never quite says thanks for listening, but what a gift. Bonus question, and this is for all the chocolate. Jody's father used to ask this: who are you, John Ford, and what do you want?
I am a child of God, and I want to make a difference.
Nice. Define child of God and define difference.
I have come to discover that I am the beloved of God the Father, of Jesus Christ.
Awesome.
And part of that is loving others and finding what it is that I can do to improve their situation. And that particularly applies in my job.
Sure.
But more importantly, applies at home, applies in the church, applies in the community.
Yeah. It's a high calling. Lucky we have help.
Can't do it alone.
I was going to say, I can't imagine, I don't know your job, but I can imagine the pressures of the human beings involved, and just the baggage, the emotion, all the stuff that comes with that, and having to sit still with that and sit with that and try to do the right thing by them and for the county, and to find that space. I guess that's true in insurance. I'm trying to do right by the customer and the company, and there's the call. Glad I have a job.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the job. Go get him, Tiger.
That is the job.
Hey, thanks to Dick Taylor Chocolate, you're the proud owner of a vanilla milk chocolate, 55%. Oh, the Alexander Family Farm up in Smith River and Ferndale. Delicious milk. Enjoy that, John.
Thank you.
You may not eat that on the way home. She'll get really mad.
She will.
Yeah, you better share that, because that's what we do.
Yep.
So let's talk about your legacy real quick. What would you like to be remembered for in terms of your arrival and departure from Earth? Gravestone. Your celebration of life.
Yeah, I'm.
You probably presided over a few of those.
I have. I absolutely have. And, some of them are a little bit more difficult than others. I think the thing that I would like to be remembered for most is that I like poured into people's lives
Hmm.
in some way, whether it's professionally, personally, whatever.
That's good. I like that. I like the one that I think it was a week or two ago. She said, I'd like my tombstone to say, she was a lot. I thought, that's a pretty good one. I should ask Nick his one day. We'll see what his is afterward. So you would know a lot of Nazarene people. So
Mhm.
Pastor Zimmelman was a Nazarene pastor in 1979, where Joni and I went to church for a minute in Arcata.
Okay.
Is that still a Nazarene church right by the campus?
That is still a Nazarene church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was an amazing dude. Had a good youth ministry. My other Naz parallel is Eureka Naz. Jerome used to be pastor there for a minute. We
Mhm.
visited there when we were church hopping and found it, even though we lived in McKinleyville, it wouldn't work, but it was one of the most friendly, amazing, warm churches that I'd ever visited. And then closer to home is Pastor Nicole down in Fortuna.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. My office manager loves her. She's plugged in as part of that and recently got baptized by her last
Oh,
summer.
good.
Just I look forward to Nicole. Want to meet you. And then we're part of Catalyst Church, so we have Pastor Bethany and Jason.
Nice.
Shay, I don't know if you've ever met them.
I haven't.
Yeah, you would do well. They're great, super great people.
Yeah.
But she talks, back to what you said about being beloved. Paul talks about that a lot. Turns out, so do all the writers of all the Gospels. And I think it's a really important note that if you don't get that, if God's just this heavy duty grandpa that wants to beat people, you miss the New Testament, which is what they would like you to do. But if you reread it, it's First John especially, or Romans, or John, Book of John. As God's holy, dearly beloved, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another, forgiving one another. Forgive as God forgave you. And above all that, put on love, which turns out it binds it all together in perfect harmony. And I think it's taken 66 years of unlearning to relearn the fact that, I always figured God, likes, loves everybody. He might like me. I don't know. And I think it's that mentality that level of unbelief that God's after. That's way more sinful than a heroin habit in my book. That unbelief that keeps you from the rest of it.
Yeah, that's a hard one, and it's hard to overcome.
Yeah, heroin's easy. Cussing, cigarettes, vaping, get out of here. But overcoming that headspace of unbelief and going, well, I just know that God's this way. Well, really, have you been outside today and looked around at nature or the revelation of the creation, or hanging out with people that love you and that are beloved also? And are you going to really reframe God in some way, or are you going to just stay with your weird unbelief?
Right.
Yeah. So, hey, there's my preaching for the day.
That was good word.
Yeah, I'm here for you. Well, friend, any closing remarks? Are you good?
I'm good.
Good. I'm good. Fastest hour of the week. This is what I always tell Nick. I always tell my guests that too. Hey, and if you're just joining us, it's Pastor John Ford. So real quick, how long were you at the Naz in McKinleyville?
I was there about 7 years.
Okay. We were just down the street at Church of the Light.
Okay.
On the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is now something else. We left there and went to Calvary Arcata. And then that's transformed to Telios now.
Right.
Pastor Jim Thomas. Hey, Jim.
Yeah. I've gone by Telios a few times.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah. He presents a good word.
Yeah. He's a good man, and they're doing a good job, and 3 services now. And, they grew a lot during COVID.
Yeah.
So they're a bunch of good guys. Having said all that, if you're just joining us, you're really late, and it's okay. It's John Ford, my new best friend and my new best neighbor. I think he's a good neighbor. I know I'm a good neighbor. If the bear comes around,
I did call you about the bear.
You did. You're on it. Yeah. We saw the bear this morning. It's like, and I've talked about 8 other people since then there's been bear spottings. And Jody did call Fish and Game.
Yeah.
And she said that's exact. They move around. And did you guys ever see a cub?
Did not see a cub.
That was a creepy squeal in the night, though.
It was.
And bears don't normally eat things, like
Yep.
live things.
Well, and frankly, I don't want to be gross, but if a bear was eating something, it would only squeal for a little bit.
That's true. This was an ongoing.
This was ongoing for like hours.
Oh, was it that long?
Yeah.
I only woke up, and then I heard it kind of go away. So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
then,
the bear may be roaming around out there, and
yeah.
it looked like they had kind of made a little nest there, but
Yeah, it could be stopping point. There's an area there where deer have hung out. She's raised generational deer spot there, but that's going to go away. So you kids out in Dow's Prairie, keep it out for the bear. It's not a grizzly.
it's not a
a
grizzly.
black bear that's scared of people.
Yeah.
Clap twice, it'll run. But yeah, it's kind of creepy to know there's something, next time you're out in your skivvies in the middle of the night around your house, just be careful.
You don't want to see something with shining eyes that is running at you.
No, it's not your cat.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge bummer. Well, hey, thanks for being here, John.
Thank you very much, Scott. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Hey, so if you're just joining us again, you're super late. That's fine. But you can do this. You can subscribe to us. I very rarely take much time. I think I'm going to win the chocolate bar. We're on YouTube. You could come and make a comment. You could subscribe. We're on all the podcast platforms, right, Nick? Like Apple and Spotify, and there's way many. There's thousands more. I guess Amazon's got a podcast. We're on Access Humboldt TV. You ever watch Access Cable Channel 10, 11, 12?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, you would, because you're on there a lot. I mean, sorry. That was a dig. That was uncalled for. Do you ever see yourself on TV? I guess you probably do.
I try not to watch myself, and when I'm tempted to, my wife says, "Don't you get enough of that at work?"
Yeah. There you are watching your friends again, doing it work. Yeah, no, they're really great. Access Humboldt, they're doing a good job. They've just moved. I guess they're going to be in Eureka somewhere, and they come off to see our studio, and they're going to be around for a little while.
Yeah, appreciate them. They work hard.
Had Christina on the show. She's great. And then Nate Dogg, and then Matt was just in there in my office, one of their volunteers. What a great crew they have, and some special folks doing a good work serving the community.
Yep.
Having said all that, you could like us, follow us. We have a website. Is it 100humboldt.com? That's correct. Nick says yes. And I got some cool people that are partners in this. Dick Taylor, Advanced Security, Quality Body, and Growing Pains. That's Nick's podcast. Nick Flores, ladies and gentlemen, 240 episodes, all of them 3 to 4 hours long. Joe Rogan format. Not all of them, but some amazing people there too. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Scott Hammond, 100% Humboldt. Keep it real.